Hey guys, it's Pastor John. Thank you for joining me today for lunch with St. Luke as we continue to follow Jesus through the Gospel of Luke. What a blessing it is for us to be together today for this daily office. In our last episode, we saw Jesus, answering some of the questions that were being brought to him by the religious leaders. The religious leaders had asked his disciples why they were hanging out with tax collectors and sinners. We had next they asked Jesus why his disciples aren't fasting like the disciples of John or the disciples of the Pharisees. And Jesus, of course, gives his answer, the bridegroom illustration, powerful illustration. And now today we are moving into episode 60. We're still in Luke chapter 5 for episode 60, Luke chapter 5 and verse 36. Jesus is going to continue this conversation, and he's going to add to that. He also told them a parable. No one tears a patch from a new garment and puts it on an old garment. Otherwise, not only will he tear the new, but also the piece from the new garment will not match the old. And no one puts new wine into old wineskins. Otherwise, the new wine will burst the skins, spill, and the skins will be ruined. No, new wine is put into fresh wineskins. And no one, after drinking the old wine, wants the new, because he says the old is better. Here's Jesus really discussing, the entire, really mode of, kind of pursuing forgiveness that the Pharisees had done. This entire idea of cleanliness and of trying to fast to get right with God and trying to show their seriousness and their discipline, and that was going to get them to be seen as righteous. And Jesus here is bringing a very intense critique of that through these little stories. You want to go shopping and buy some new clothes, and then take the new clothes home and cut holes in them in order to use that as patches on your old clothes. Nobody does that. That's ruining the new clothes. It's running up your credit cards for no reason. It's wasting that money. And on top of that, it looks silly, right? That's Jesus's point. You're not going to tear a patch from the new. Jesus's goal here is not to try to fix the system that the Pharisees and scribes and others had put together. His goal is not to try to fix this whole religious system, this whole temple apparatus, and all of the stuff around that. That isn't his goal. Is to take the new thing that God is doing in him and use that to somehow fix the old. That isn't his plan. And no one puts new wine into old wineskins. Well, that makes sense. They didn't have bottles of wine then. They used basically animal skins in order to hold the wine. Often even like empty animal organs, which they could use to hold the wine. And as the wine ferments, it expands some, and those gases in the process of fermentation also would would stretch and harden those skins. Well, that works once, but if you put new wine into old wineskins, what's going to happen? Well, it's going to try to stretch and expand again, and that hardened skin is going to break, right? It's just simply not going to work. That's why you put new wine into fresh wineskins. There's going to be a whole new apparatus, a whole new set of disciplines, a whole new really set of traditions to go with this new thing that Jesus is doing. And no one, after drinking old wine, wants the new, because he says the old is better. Yeah, those who are the religious leaders in the old system, it's going to be very hard for them to make the move into the new thing. The vast majority of those religious leaders are going to stick with the old because they're already comfortable with the old. They already know how the old works. They can even manipulate the old to go after this new thing that Jesus is offering. Well, that's something which, the crowds might be curious enough to check out. That's something which, tax collectors and sinners and those who recognize their need, those who are in need of healing, those would be the kind of people who may be curious enough to check out something new that Jesus is offering. But the religious leaders, yeah, that's going to be a big step for them. Jesus' point is his goal is not to try to fix and reform their old system. His goal is to set up something entirely new. This week I had to purchase a brand new washing machine. It's stressful to spend that much money. I ordered the brand new washing machine from Home Depot, had that delivered, and I then promptly took all of the new parts out of the new machine and put it into my old machine and threw away the new shell. Well, no, of course I didn't do that. That would be absolutely ridiculous. You want the new parts in the new machine, right? The putting the new parts into the old machine, it may not even work, and you're destroying the new machine in the process. Well, it's not exactly as good of an illustration as what Jesus thought of there with his both patch and wineskin, but you get the idea. You need a new system to contain the new teaching, to contain this new thing that Jesus is doing. Guys, this leads us to a great question for us to ask ourselves. What are a set of traditions to which you are addicted? It's so easy for us to get stuck, in our ways, to get stuck in the old things and the way with which things have always been done, right? It's very easy to get habitually stuck in that pattern. What are those traditions which you find yourself addicted to, which you end up, at times we can get to where those traditions to us are even more important than the new thing that Jesus is doing in our life. Oh, for our hearts to be focused on Jesus. Oh, for our hearts to be open to the new stuff that he's doing in our life. Oh, for us to allow him to build new structures in our life around that. And not to be stuck in our old patterns. Oh, having a sense of flexibility. That's an important trait for a Jesus follower to have, for a disciple to have. And I want to challenge you in your time of daily office here today. Spend some time praying about that. Spend some time asking Jesus, what are those traditions that you're addicted to? And what is the new thing that he's doing in your life? Spend some time with him and asking him to open up your heart to what he's up to. Oh, for the Lord Jesus to do his work, his new, fresh, beautiful, wonderful work in our lives. Well, Lord Jesus bless you. Have a great weekend. Keep following Jesus.